Is it recording? I see time moving. Okay, let's go for it. Hey y'all. I hope y'all missed me because I missed y'all a whole lot. And I don't know if this is like super peculiar to have me sitting in my bathroom recording. But if you follow me on Twitter, you know what happened. My computer decided it wanted to fall off my desk one day, and it fell off, and my screen is like, you can see half of the screen, but the other half is like fucking barcodes. Like it looks like a barcode on half of my screen, so I can't see. So I have to use my iTouch to record. So I'm actually in the bathroom. It's like, let me show y'all. You see, my iTouch is sitting on my iHome, and I'm recording this way. So it's what it is. You gotta do what you gotta do to get where you're trying to get to. So I said I wasn't gonna do no more Whitney Houston videos, but I had to come and commentate on the whole funeral arrangement thing itself and the Bobby Brown situation, because I have a very strong opinion about that, and I'm gonna get into that. But I'm gonna start with the funeral. The funeral was wonderful. I didn't actually watch it. Well, I watched it. I didn't watch it. I heard it. I was listening to it because I had a long night the night before, like a very, very long night, to the point where I was like, let's just say I had too many drinks. That's where I'm going to leave it. So I didn't get out of my bed at all day on Saturday. So I was listening to it because my mother had her TV on fucking 90 listening to it. So I was listening to everything that was happening. And it was really nice. I actually got up when I started feeling a little better and watched the little, you know, outtakes and not outtakes, but you know how they do like the rerun and show little parts of it. It looked like it was really nice. And when they carried her out, it was very, I cried. I wasn't going to say it on camera, but I cried. But it was very nice. And she went out in a very respectable way. And I'm glad they did it. And I'm glad it went over smoothly. Now, let's talk about Bobby Brown. Uncle Bobby. So, this is, I've heard so many different stories about what went down at the funeral. But what I do when I hear these stories, I read them all. I completely unbiased my opinion, and I put them all together in my head, and I make my own story. So this is what I believe happened. Me and my mom was talking, and she made a very valid point. This is what I believe happened. So Bobby Brown showed up at the funeral with his 7 children and his new wife or fiance or whoever it is. He was invited to the funeral. Him and his children were invited to the funeral. So he got there. I'm assuming he got there later, after the family was already escorted in, because if you ever been to a funeral, I've only been to one and I don't even remember it, and that was the last funeral I told myself I would ever go to, because I don't like sad occasions and stuff like. What the fuck just happened? Oh, the screen just went black. I was still recording. I'm still recording now? Okay. So, I don't like sad occasions and stuff, so I don't go to funerals. But the one funeral I went to, the family comes in first, then everybody else files in after the family have viewed the body or whatever. So, and the family will see it already. So, if Bobby Brown came late and he wasn't seated with the family, then you can't just come into the funeral and, you know, place yourself on the front row with the family. Though you are technically family, because that's your ex-wife, your daughters are, or your daughter, y'all have a daughter together. So I still consider that family. I don't care if you ex, before, in the backpacks, you got a child, y'all are bonded together forever. So on that note, I believe Bobby Brown bought him, his 7 children, and his ex-wife, and tried, or not his ex-wife, excuse me, his fiance or whatever she is now, and tried to sit on the front row, and he was told no. Now, in that respect, rightfully so, because you can't just come in a funeral and decide you're late and you want to sit with the family, but you can't just come in. It's like, it's a protocol thing. I don't think they did it maliciously. I think it was like a straight protocol thing. You just can't come into a funeral and just be like, okay, I'm going to sit down right here because I'm part of the family, even though y'all was escorted in already. I'm just going to sit here. You can't do that. So, on that notion, Bobby, yeah, you got a strike. That was wrong. Plus, you had 7 people. Well, it was 9 altogether. 7 kids, him, and the wife. So, it's 9 people altogether. Now, Where they went wrong, the funeral people, they asked Bobby to move once. They moved him and I guess his people to a different spot. That was fine. You moved him once. But then I heard they moved him again. That's where y'all start getting real rude and fishy. And that's when I said, okay, strike against whoever is running this funeral. Because that's foul. You moved him once. You told him he couldn't sit with the family. So he can't sit with his daughter and the rest of his kids. So you move him. He's sitting. Then you tell him he has to move again. That something's fishy about that. And I think it's because the Houston or Whitney's family wasn't that approving of Bobby or whatever. For whatever reason it may be. I don't care what nobody say. I don't believe, and Whitney said it on one of the little interviews we was watching last night. Everything that happened in her life was for a reason. And it's all in like, I'm trying to get the correct word that she used. Basically, it's all in the divine nature. Everything happened for a reason. So she's not blaming Bobby for her problems. She's not blaming him for her doing drugs or drinking. Well, she just started drinking, apparently. She wasn't like a drinker, but apparently she started drinking. But she's not blaming him for none of that. So for the world to like crucify Bobby Brown and essentially condemn him, and I even heard somebody said that he is the reason why she's dead. That's hurtful. Don't tell me I killed nobody. I didn't kill nobody. I just live here. So I thought that was real shade that they insisted on keep moving him around like they was playing fucking musical chairs with him and his family. Like that would annoy me too. So then he decided to go up, kiss the casket, family, let's get it, and he left. Rightfully so, if you ask me, because it's okay. Wait, before I go there, I don't think he should have bought his ex-wife or his new wife, Beyonce, whatever. You and your kids were invited, not you, your kids, and your new family. Now that's just enough, because Bobby Christina has brothers and sisters on her father's side. You would want them to be there, you know, because that was essentially their mother-in-law at once. I'm assuming they're all of age to where they were married at this time, but that's their mother-in-law essentially. So I'm sure, and even if it wasn't their mother-in-law, they still have a sister through Bobby. So they all should have been together. And yeah, you came late. You should have came in, found you a seat somewhere that wasn't in the front row, because yes, you were late. But for them to insist on moving him around, and I just think I would have got fed up too, and like, look, because they moved him twice. You told him to move from off the front row. He did that respectably. Then you told him to move again. That's just enough. Like, look, I'm here to pay my respects to my wife or ex-wife, support my daughter who's going through, clearly, she was in rehab, or not rehab, but having anxiety attacks and shit. So you would think, and he was invited. You invited him and his family, or him and his kids, not family. That's the word family is used very loosely. Family means your spouse, kids, and you. No, you and your kids come, not you, your 3 mistresses, and the maid. Just you and your kids, because they are Bobby Christina's brother and sisters. So I just think they did Bobby Brown wrong. I do think he was wrong for coming and trying to sit on that front row, though. I do think he could have found a more discreet way to get in and, you know, respectably pay his respects than just marching up late onto the front row and sitting down and then being asked to move. Then they was wrong for asking him to move all around. But other than that, the ceremony was wonderful. It was nice. I cried when they carried the funeral or the little casket out. It was very nice. And RIP Auntie Whitney. And I'm praying for Christina, because she is the only child, and right now she ain't got nothing but her daddy now and her Auntie Sissy, or her grandma Sissy. Yeah. And oh, I heard that her Sissy is trying to force Bobby Christina into rehab, because she don't want what happened to Whitney to happen to Christina or Bobby Christina. My thing is, you can't force somebody to go into a rehab facility. Like, I understand we want help for these people and we want them to become better, but you can't force someone to do anything until they're ready to do it. Now, you can go, like she said, we was watching an Oprah interview last night. Whitney said at one point her mother came with like court mandated papers saying that Whitney had to go. Now, when you go to those extremes, when you bring the law into it, yeah, then you have to go. Because, you know, if you don't, you're going to jail. But you can't really force somebody to want help until they actually want it for themselves. So, I don't think it's right for her, for Sissy, to try to force Bobby Christina into rehab. Like, let her grieve. Hopefully, she'll learn something from her mother's trials and tribulations and things of that nature. And she'll get through it, you know? But I don't think it's right for her to force her into rehab. That's just fuckery. Like, you're not going to force me into rehab. Like, if I decide that I want to go to AA after having too many drinks, then that's on me. But you're not going to force me. You're not going to have somebody come knocking on my door talking about some, Darrell, we're here to pick you up for AA. No, you're not. I'm in here drinking. So, that's it. I think hopefully this will be done with the Whitney Houston saga. But they still haven't released the autopsy yet. But when they do, I'll probably be back reporting on that. But as of right now, this is it for Auntie Whitney. Yeah, that's it. So, see y'all. Peace. Bloop.